But I'm not saying you won on this argument. Alright, so we're just going to run back blue-black Murktide Shadow, swapping out the 2 Knights Whispers, 2nd Stubborn Denial, and the 4th Archmage's Charm for 4 Considers, and see what happens. So let's just go ahead and hop in. Not a Bird Lawyer believer. What are you cutting for Bird Lawyer? Like, you're not running baubles. You're a very reactive deck. Like, Bird Lawyer just seems like a really bad fit for this deck. Street Wraith doesn't trigger it. If you cut Street Wraith, then you might as well just like not be running Shadow. If you're not running Shadow and you add in Bird Lawyers, then it's just a completely different deck. It does a completely different thing. So I'm not like against Bird Lawyer. I just don't think it's good in this deck. Oh, we get to try out Consider right off the bat. Let's take the 2nd Channeler. Snapcaster stand for life. The bird gets the bird. So it looks like just Grixis Shadow with Giganta. Well, if they start running all their spells at me to get Delirium online, we might be able to just, like, Charm take this Channeler. They did flip over land, so they can bolt me to turn on Delirium. Or they're going to not attack with the Murktide, or with the Channeler. Maybe they're like saving the bolt to be able to kill their Channeler after I take it. So they could have had me down to like 7 here. Bolt last turn, attack with Channeler down to 10. Attack this turn down to 7. Counterspell that. Still no bolt. Okay. Find a land to Murktide. Cannot. But Fatal Push does let me kill off this Channeler. So that's step one in the bag. Update the stream title and stream decker while we're waiting real quick. Death Shadow. Oh man, land, where you at? 3, 4, 5. So they got like Bolt Unholy Heat. They can kill the Murktide. Land. Alright. What am I doing? I'm just holding up counter spell. Maybe they try to bolt themselves a few times. Ragavan is fine. I believe, deck. I believe you can give me the land. Ah! Oh. Add Gigantha to their hand. Yep. That would be a really good turn for a land. Oh. Alright, go ahead. Let's see, card idea. Dogfish, Lord of the Trackpad, Grixis, Planeswalker, +1, salt off in chat. -2, crush the Qs. And not sure what the ult does. The ult is like stare at target opponent and claim that you made their deck before they did. I came up with that. Yeah, counterspelling that. We're getting close to the point where, like, second Murktide just makes this Murktide lethal. Like, if we find a land, Fatal Push, Shadow, play second Murktide, grow this one, we can just kill them here. So... Alright, well, they've got a bolt. This is a lot of cards to not see a third land. We kept a 2-lander, right? Alright, so I'm gonna, like, upkeep Fatal Push. They found a drown, make them, like, use it now. But we're also getting to the point where they just, like, find an Unholy Heat plus another Bolt or double Unholy Heat or something and kill this Murktide. Alright, so just for the record, we don't need a land now, but we're probably going to find it. Oh, no, just... third Murktide region. Got it. Watch out. Yeah! Who needs third land? Not us. What do I want here? I don't want Dress Down. I'm fine cutting a little bit of Hand Disruption. Bring in Turok. Bring in EE. Soul Guide, go like that. Hand's pretty bad, but I really don't want to, like, mulligan against the Hand Disruption deck. I'll roll with it, see what happens. Soul Guide their own graveyard. Love to see it. Find a Street Wraith. See how aggressive they want to be with their soul guide. Yep. If they take my shadow, then they have to pop this soul guide lantern like pretty aggressively. All right. They keep a one lander. Nope. A little shadow v shadow action. How do I want to do this? Like, do I just want to soul guide dismember? Do I want to shadow dismember? I think I want to soul guide dismember. I don't even think I have to do anything just yet. If they put like an expressive iteration on the stack, yeah, just kill their shadow. I could have waited and just seen if they'd attack me, but they showed me Spell Pierce in the blind game 1, so I really don't want to just like walk into that. Got a follow-up. All right. Something like an Archmage's Charm would be really nice. Nope. Go from the heavy flood game 1 to the heavy God, what's the word I'm thinking of? Heavy screw game 1 to the heavy flood game 2. There we go. I should have just played Shadow, no fetch. So you just have like nothing. I'm under the assumption that if he had like a drowning lock, he would have just attacked, like killed my shadow, attacked. Could have a spell pierce. I'll say you have to block. And then if you put anything on the stack, I'm gonna try to take your shadow. Yeah, spell pierce, that would make sense. Yep. Cool. But it's just like if he taps off Drown and Lock mana, we're going to take a shadow. And now my shadows get to play Abyss mode. If he plays a shadow, he's got to chump with it. If he passes, I just get counterspell. That's a lot of lands. Or all the other games. Alright. Nice little 1-0 start. Win the pseudo mirror. I think we need to design this dogfish planeswalker though. I think that would be lit. Bruno, thank you so much for the follow. Unless this is Disney and then we don't talk about you or your follows. So, why is our... song track updater is not working? Sending to the right spot. check that after the stream. King Hexar. Yep, keep this. Opponent reveals Gigantha, so it might be another Grixis Shadow opponent. Maybe Burn with no Searing Blazes or Eidolons. Murktide with no Murktides. Savai Triome. Is this Zoo? My initial thought here is I feel like this is probably a Zoo list. Looks pretty Zoo-y to me. Out here with their 5/5 Kavus on turn 2. Kind of madman plays 5/5 Kavus. Tarmogoyf. What on earth is this? Whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. That's a lot of text. So we're just going to take the Scion. Try to hit lands. I don't want to take Tribal Flames. Yes, Inquisition me. Lay thine eyes. What is it? Lay thine eyes across the field in which I grow my fucks and see that it is barren. Probably gonna have to take Tribal Flames. I'll just take Inquisition. Murktide to the rescue, please. Chow. I'm at 4. Oh boy. I'm pretty sure they know my last card is Archmage's Charm. Yep. Can't pop that or you die. So we are not doing anything about this lightning bolt, just attacking, putting them down to 1. Let the lightning bolt resolve, and then whatever their next unknown thing is, that's what we're countering. So we don't care about these Rafine things. You got it, I'm at 1. Alright. Game numero dos. Spreading Seas looks okay against the 5-color Triome deck. He's probably okay. Put out some Wraiths. Let's see. Legitimate business person. Grixis Planeswalker. +1. Lose 1 life. And Thought Scour. -3. Creates a black avatar creature token named Death Shadow. -7. Creatures you control have double strike and trample. Now we're talking. You have achieved perfection with your Planeswalker design. In the words of my ancestors, I'm about it. This is pretty bad if they've got a Scion of Draco. Are they just gonna Veil of Summer me? Talk about most annoying Magic cards. Territorial Kavoo. Let's just go ahead and you. It's gonna be that Esper thing. Yeah, it is. Flying, Ward 1, whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. They attack. They connive. I guess I can't really play this out into a known Riveteer's Charm, can I? Now I can. I feel like this card's not good enough to be a payoff in your zoo deck, but what do I know? Blood Crypt. So this is a 6/6. Riveteer's Charm. Make you sacrifice your Murktide Regent. They do not. Why do they not? Green, black, green, red. Yeah, they had Riveteer's Charm. Wonder why they wouldn't do that on my end step. Yeah, we'll swing. So if they swing back, they're probably dead. Hiya. Maybe they're playing around Spell Pierce. I guess that's a fair argument. Guess I'm not huge on the idea of like playing around something that you don't know is there. Very fun Unraveler. Get out of here. Get out of here. Teferi. Ugh. I guess they could play that, the equipment that straps up to a planeswalker and makes them a creature. Combine that with your Scion of Draco, and now all of a sudden your Teferi has got Hexproof and Vigilance. So that's kind of fun. Yeah. Principe. No idea what Principe is playing nowadays. I guess we're gonna find out. Ah, yes. I see. The questions, they've been answered. I guess part of me for like half a second there was thinking, okay, maybe he's grown, maybe he's learned. I'll take an Archmage's Charm. That's a counter spell for something. Alright, so let's get another Consider in the yard. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something else. Alright. That's a bunch of Urza's Towers. So here's a Shadow. If he does nothing relevant, we'll dismember our own Shadow or Murktide or something into turn, untap and present lethal. Now we look like geniuses for putting Spreading Seas in our deck. Otreb, how's the Dimir Shadow doing? Well, we finished up the first league, 3-2. We're currently 2-0 in this league. So, not bad. Consider looks good. Yeah, Consider's been pretty decent so far. I think I'm liking that change. Star. Okay. Uh-oh. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. So they whiff on 2 stirrings. I'm going to keep the Drown in the lock. They've whiffed on a couple stirrings, so I feel like there's a decent chance that this Drown is just going to, like, get to counter something. No! Stone. No Stone's gonna have to eat a counter. Yeah, Veil. Nope. Here's Johnny. Alright. Take Blast Zone up to 3. That's not going to be fast enough to keep up with the Murktide. I think I'm going to draw 2. And we'll just hope that double counter spell is enough to get the job done. Yep. All right. 3060. Can we keep the train a-rolling? I'll do my quick call to action while everybody's here. We're waiting for the next match. First off, thanks everybody so much for coming and hanging out. I know there's plenty of good people streaming. Appreciate you jumping over here and checking us out. If it's your first time on this chat or on the channel, feel free to jump into the chat and say, hey, tell us about yourself, where you're from, what got you into Magic, why Death Shadow is the best archetype in Modern, or if you want to lurk, feel free to lurk. Otherwise, if you're enjoying the channel, feel free to hit the follow button. Doesn't cost you anything. Just lets you know whenever we go live, so you can come hang out, check out some shadow action. We've also got links in the chat for YouTube and Twitter. If you're ever wanting like updates on deck lists or want to see previous leagues get uploaded, feel free to hop over there. Quest search, no Shredder. So I don't believe Shredder's a good fit for this deck. First off, you'd have to cut something out of the current list, which the obvious candidates or the big candidates are like Archmage's Charm and Street Wraith. But like if you cut Archmage's Charm, you lose the consistency of trying to play that Protect the Queen style because you're cutting a third of your counter spells. And if you cut Street Wraith, then you're losing your ability to consistently get out Death Shadows, in which case you probably shouldn't play Shadow in the first place. And it's just like a completely different deck if you're playing Shredder and Murktide and no Shadow. Let's see. Medivia Shake, thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're having an awesome Tuesday so far. Appreciate you coming and hanging out. Let's see, Mabaria. Hey, enjoying the stream. Just finished building blue-black Merc Shadow myself and be trying it out in my LGS tomorrow. Nice. I think the deck's been doing pretty solid for me, so I'm about it. Alright, so I'm going to take Inquisition here. They can play Ragavan. I've got the Fatal Push, but I feel like if they Inquisition take my Shadow, then I'm just spinning wheels for a while. So I'm going to kind of lean into this. I'm going to be greedy. Punished. Really wanted to find second land. They've got iteration and hit my Inquisition. Super, super punished. Oh, we're not in like a horrendous spot. It's not great, but it's not awful. Second land would help a lot. Yep. Oh, man. We had Street Wraith. We had Consider. We've seen 3 draw steps. Now they can Thoughtseize, take Dismember into dash Ragavan. Yep. And they hit a Shadow. Yep. Again, this has been the biggest detriment of this deck, is just missing land drops. Like, just so many times that we haven't hit the second or third land drop in a timely manner, and that's been absolutely lights out. Like, you have to have at least 2 lands for this deck to function. But you can't really justify throwing back hands that are like 1 mana, multiple draw spells, and a bunch of really good 2-drops. if we had more interaction in the deck, like more 1-mana removal spells, I wouldn't hate being on the draw in these matchups. Used to take the draw in the Shadow matchups a lot, but that was like before Ragavan and stuff like that. So, gotta take it with a grain of salt. Take Archmage's Charm. And kind of like right there, there's no reason to crack Mishra's Bauble on your turn if you're the opponent. You can't draw or you can't cast anything that you draw into, and all you're doing is opening up, drawing a good spell into Hand Disruption, and having it get stripped from you. So, literal no advantage of casting Hand Disruption. Or no advantage for cracking Bauble, not casting Hand Disruption. It's like all downside if you do. Okay. So I could fetch Shock, play Soul Guide, hit something, and then play Murktide. Not a huge Murktide, but it's a Murktide. Now they can't Unholy Heat it because I've got Soul Guide Lantern up. Draw, push you, play you, swing with you. What do you think about Tainted Indulgence? 2 or 3 copies. I don't think Tainted Indulgence is a good card. 9 times out of 10, or even more than 9 times out of 10, it's 2 mana, draw 2, discard 1, which is net neutral on cards. Like, the advantage of the card is just that it's instant speed. But it's not going to be 2 mana draw 2, like, any fraction of the time that you want it to be 2 mana draw 2. It's almost always going to be 2 mana draw 2, discard 1. And that's just, like, too much to be paying for a cantrip effect. Why Soul Guide Lantern compared to other forms of graveyard hate? I still don't know the reasons for this. So the big reason is Soul Guide Lantern doesn't target. So it gets around like Leyline of Sanctity from like Dredge and the dedicated graveyard decks. Like Relic or Nihil Spellbomb is going to be better in the fair mid-range matchups where you want to hit their yard and draw a card. But it's going to be exponentially worse in the unfair graveyard matchups, like Living In and Dredge and stuff like that, where you need to hit their whole yard. And the fact that it's 1 mana, hit their entire yard, where Unlicensed Hearse is 2 mana, hit part of their yard every turn is a big deal. I really don't like this hand. Opponent mulliganed. Alright, this is better. No value in the discard fueling Murktide. Well, if you're hitting lands, you don't really have a big issue fueling Murktide. The problem arises when you just like don't hit land drops. So I could take the iteration, drown the Shredder. Or I could take the Shredder, or counterspell the iteration. I think I like that. I think I like taking Shredder. Because they're pretty incentivized to not cast the iteration until turn 3. So that they can hit a land off of it. Hey Mike, what do you think about Tainted Indulgence? Don't think you've talked about it yet. Well, we got new faces in the chat. So I assume this is going to be expressive iteration. Ragavan. Guess we'll just let Ragavan resolve. Plan on drowning it. Guess that was the punish. That they just have another land and get to shadow. They've got Unholy Heat, expressive iteration. Wait a little bit on this consider so I can try to figure out what I'm looking for. Like, I think even if I considered and saw Murktide, I'm probably not casting it. Okay. So last card is Unholy Heat. No, I'll keep Murktide right where it's at. Let's take the Unholy Heat. Play our good buddy Murktide. Say go. Am I just playing another Murktide here? No. I want to wait for Murktide. Why not save more spells for second Murktide? Because I don't want them to be able to kill this with an Unholy Heat. They've got Delirium active. And if I don't play out my spells, then I can just be like running this into a Heat and them get to keep attacking. Drowning the lock. I think I'm fine letting that resolve. Like, I'm pretty sure my plan here is just to counter something to be able to play Murktide as a 4/4, get this one up, and be able to make like one lethal swing. I mean, I've also got like Archmage's charms and things I could draw into that would be good here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if I can counter something, then this second Murktide, or this Murktide, will be able to exile the counterspell, grow both of these. That'll be lethal. But I can't really do a whole lot until they put something on the stack first. Patented Mike Flood. That could be worse. Ledger Shredder. Do I care about Ledger Shredder? What punishes me for acting on this? Holy Heat's gone. Don't care about Giganta. Guess I could have Terminate. Yep. So I do have a channeler that has to attack here. Sure. Put myself dead to double bolt. What would be my best series of draws? Like, consider drown, kill my shadow, sure. And Ben Croxa. That was probably worst case scenario, right? Alright. Never punished. Just for the flex. Oh, man. GG's. GG's. Opponent hit me with the LOL man in the chat. I don't think they were being rude about it. I think it was just like what a slugfest. So I don't think you're allowed to maliciously LOL man after you just surveilled Croaks into the yard. If you're able to get it back. That was wild. But we get to play for the trophy. I don't know if Stevens is still in here to do a bet or not. One of these days I'll have him teach me how to. There he goes. Still need to learn at some point. But if you want to predict on whether or not we get the trophy, prediction is live now. Bet for or against. Channel points up on the wager. I'll give a few seconds for people to get their bets in before I join. Let's see. Amigo Brielle, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome Tuesday so far. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. Still a few more seconds to get predictions in. Ooh, not gonna get there with this hand. That's better. Probably just throw back the stub. Oh, opponent mulligan to 6. Stub or drown? Go stub. Throw back stub and immediately regret it. Always glad to see more people believing in me clutching up the win than losing. Alright, what we got? Oh, land is the worst thing in the world. What are we up against? Ah. Naturally. So let's take Shardless. Say go. We've got the second drown, so we're a little grief proof. Living in for the trophy. Go ahead and fetch and shock here and pass. I don't want to get into a situation where, like, I'm trying to hold up Drown in the Loch and I want to fetch and they get to respond with, like, a violent outburst or something. So, Grief, Exile, Living End that they drew. Cool. So I assume you just take Murktide if you see double Drown here. Like, just take the clock. Nope. Never mind. So I know their cards are Otawara, Unknown. Otawara. I guess if they got the Otawara, they shouldn't be that afraid of the Murktide. So, probably makes sense. Or they play the Otawara. Never mind. You've got a Curator. Alright, so that's actually a really nice pickup, because now I can just drown the Curator and still have Counterspell. So they're not as able to, like, dig for a second Cascade spell. Let's counterspell you. Would love to find another counterspell. Stubborn Denial, Archmage's Charm. Consider. Let's consider first. Basically, if I draw a counterspell, I would rather hold it up than Murktide. But if I don't draw a counterspell, then just casting Murktide is my best option. Have you found a second copy of Living End? If you did, you just cast it there. You don't pass the turn. And am I playing out anything? Have I considered playing Shredder? Only about 17 times today. That's been the card everybody's asked about. So I have to keep telling that, like, I don't think Shredder is a good fit for this deck. Because you either have to cut something like Wraith, which means you shouldn't be playing Shadow because you can't get Shadows on reliably, or you cut Archmage's Charm, in which case you can't play the Protect the Queen role with Murktide very well, because you're cutting a third of your counter spells. Tainted Indulgence is not something he's considered yet, though. You're right. Is this, yeah. Otawara. Guess we're just passing. They can't fetch now, so... Alright. Tainted Indulgence is not something he's considered yet, though. I mean... You're naming all the live ones. Why have discussions on Magic cards? I just want to ignore their existence altogether. Tainted Indulgence, more like tainted, what is that? Can't remember. I think I kept in like a dress down last time. Alright. Every piece of hate imaginable. Let's do it. We've got a clock, we've got a counterspell, we've got a chalice and a soul guide lantern, like... Get that victory, Mike. I need it. I gotta have those dubs. I can't feel validated about my body of work if I don't have dubs. So, opponent mold to 6. They do not have a turn 1 cycler. If Mike wins with this, maybe he'll finally consider Shredder. Math checks out. So, I don't really care about the Shardless if I've got Chalice. So maybe I just want to take one of the Cyclers here. Because they are on a 1-lander. Yeah, let's just do this. You're welcome for the Dogfish Ultimate Run It Back vote. I guess this was a good call. I should have taken one of the blue cards. So they couldn't cycle into Force Negation. Didn't think about that part. That's not an Architects of Will. Can we get a fetch land? Just let me, like, fetch land, Shadows, Soul Guide. And I feel good about this game. That's a big old not a fetch land, Chief. No! I F6'd. I F6'd. They caught me on the F6. That's gonna kill us. Or no, they ditched Shardless to the Architects. So if we find a land, we're okay. Dude, I did not have Force of Vigor on my radar at all. How about a land? Just for the heck of it. Alright. Now, do I want to risk it? We'll just hold up Shadow. Or hold up Counterspell. Wait till we get one more land to go for it. No longer waiting till we get another land to go for it. They play every pitch card in the format. Do they play Force of Virtue? Do they play Fury? Every pitch card in the format. Do they play Commandeer? There is indeed hope. It's not a lot of hope, but it's hope. Come on, fetch land. They play Force of Despair, the most broken of them all. Oh shit, you're right. Let's scoop it up here before they find one of those. Breftis, mind showing the list after the game. Yeah, so Mirabito just dropped a link in chat. You can go see the list if you're wanting to. Fetch land. Not a fetch land. Oh, man. I really want to consider for a fetch land to try to put them down to like needing one or only giving them one draw step. Do I have to end a turn consider here? No. No, I don't. Aha. Can you beat our army of counter spells? We are the champions, my friend. Down, down. And we'll keep on trophying to the end. Down, down, down. Alright. Pretty good little Murktide League there. So I think we lost one game. One game, and it was to Mana Screw against the Grixis Shadow opponent. I think that's right. But yeah, Consider was a really good call. So Dogfish, good choice on that one. For anybody else who suggested Consider, was really, really clutch there in a lot of spots. There was a time or two that we got a little greedy with it, but that comes with the territory of playing a Death Shadow deck, right? Didn't miss the 4th Archmage's Charm. I still would like to find room for another piece of 1 mana interaction, like 1 mana removal in the deck. What that would be, I don't know. We've tried Blood Chief's Thirst in the past, and it was pretty good. So maybe that would be the answer. But just like one more 1 mana spot removal spell. Sideboard. We saw Spreading Seas against like the Zoo deck and the Tron deck. Mystical Dispute was like bad mana leak more often than not, but still really good in any of the blue-based matchups. Turok didn't do anything that league. Chalice, Soul Guide were good. EE I don't think did anything. But I know we saw Hammer Time first league. Dress Down's amazing. Urkel's Recall didn't do anything that league, but you can't have every card do something every league. Either way, I think the main deck, like 59 of 60, I'm pretty all on board with. I just want to find that one spot for one more spot removal spell. And then I'll consider the main deck 60 to be like where I'm comfortable at. Sideboard, any of these I think you can mess around with. Like if you want to run Unlicensed Hearse, go for it. But you don't have to. Version with Shredder, I like more. Well, if you like the version with Shredder more, I absolutely suggest you go play the version with Shredder. I do not like the version with Shredder, so more than likely I'm not going to play the version with Shredder. But obviously, either one can probably win. They have good cards. If you want to play Shredder, play Shredder. If you don't want to play Shredder, I'll be over here trophying without it if you want to see any of the gameplay. Maybe one more EE instead of Hercule's Recall. I think a lot of the artifact-based decks have, like, too many different CMCs. And so having EE is really nice for chipping away, like, a chunk of them. But Hercule's Recall for, like, the blowout factor is super good. Especially against, like, Asmo food decks and things like that, where you can just say, like, all your clues and food and cookbooks and everything just back to hand. But then again, I think we've only cast Hercule's Recall, like, once since adding it to the sideboard. And it won that game, but you can't really make a bunch of decisions based off that one card.